How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we're finally back with another FPL live stream. It is the 29 deadline-ish stream. Deadline is obviously tomorrow morning for the 12 lunchtime kickoff, or 12:30, whatever it is, in the UK between Man City and Liverpool. Banger to start off the week. Looks like Haaland's going to be out as well, but the title of the stream is time for a boost. It is bench boost time. It's been too long, as Mono says in the chat. It's been too long. Last week felt like an eternity because there was nothing really going on and there was no football. So, and nobody watches international football anyway, unless it's a major tournament. But yeah, we got a lot of fixtures this week. Game week 29. Hopefully, everyone's players come through unscathed over the international break. We'll be talking transfers and all that sort of stuff. Predictions, differential picks, the lot. We'll see how we did last week. We'll kind of fly through those a little bit because they're less important. Also, it's less fixture, so it's a little bit easy to do so. But we're going to go through some transfer routes. We'll take any questions we have as well. Go through some different options and see what I'm doing this week. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, we'll run through the team really quickly. Current state that it's in, how it did last week. 57 points, Green Arrow up 100k places. And that was without Saka captain. That's mainly because we got an assist from Watkins. We got an assist from Madison. Martinelli got us 7 points. We captained somebody that also did decent, which was Kane. And we had Saka. And Saka didn't lose us rank. I think he was like 97% owned or whatever. He was effective ownership. And we had 11 players, so we did okay. So pretty good. Gameweek rank of just outside the top million, but now we're 705k, 705,000 in the world, or thereabouts. And it's bench boost week, so hopefully we can increase that rank even higher. With potentially 15 doublers in it as well. De Gea, Rashford, Matoma, and Estupinian all were not part of this game week as they were on the bench, but we were able to field the proper 11. But we had the two major kickers basically, Saka, Kane. If you had Isak as well involved in that, and you did captain Saka, you probably had a monster game week. So hats off to those who did. We only used one transfer, which was Watkins in for Erling Haaland, who did not participate in this game week either, as City did not play. And it also looks like he won't participate in game week 29 either versus Liverpool, which could be a big blow for Man City in the title race. So, bit of a problem there for City. Although Julian Alvarez, World Cup winner, isn't that bad of a replacement, I wouldn't think. So yeah, the defense wasn't great, just 2s across the board. And then the 1 for Kepa as well. Not ideal in Newcastle conceding to Forest. Thought Trippier was going to take the penalty, but he was just playing mind games and ended up giving the penalty over to Isak, who got himself a brace and max bonus. Let's move over to the predictions and how we did for last week. We'll fly through these pretty quickly. Let's put the tweet up on the screen for us here. If you give me one moment. There we go. Let me adjust it a little bit. There we go. Fantastic. So, pretty straightforward here. I predicted Newcastle would win 2-1, funnily enough. Got it bang on. For some reason, I just see Forest scoring a goal. I knew it probably happened. I was like, oh, the 1 week where I definitely want a clean sheet from Newcastle, they're not going to get it. So yeah, if you're not aware of how the scoring works, basically you get the exact score right, you get 3 points, which is quite nice. If you get at least the result right, so I predicted like 3-1 Newcastle, I get 1 point, and anything else is 0 points. So in the case of Villa versus Bournemouth, I predicted 2-0, ended up being 3-0. So just the 1 point for us there. Brentford and Leicester, I predicted 3-1. Ended up just being just the 1-1 draw. I thought it'd be a bit more goals than that. So nothing doing there. Spurs and Southampton. Spurs are winning 3-1. And Southampton managed to claw it back. Conte went on a massive rant and was subsequently sacked. It also looks like, I think his name's Fabio Petrici, Patrici, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but basically their kind of director of football type person is now being kind of investigated, as it were, or proven to be doing wrongdoings when he was over at Juventus. So he has been removed from his position as well. Things are not going well at Spurs, and it seems like Daniel Levy's kind of past problems are rearing their heads again when he tries to get people on a budget or seems to make wrong decisions. He knew probably by appointing Conte, if he didn't give what he want, he would kick up a fit, and then he would have to pay him off to get him out of the club. But yeah, I predicted 2-1, didn't work out. Wolves Leeds, this was a crazy game. 4-2 in favor of Leeds. A red card in that one as well. I believe it was for Johnny. I think he scored as well in that one. Yeah, he ended up getting a red card. It was just a crazy, crazy game. Really, really hectic. So we got that one wrong as well. We also got the Chelsea-Everton game wrong as well. Ended up being 2-2. A draw away from home was very, very favorable for Everton. Luckily for Chelsea, they're through in the Champions League, although they do have Real Madrid up next, which is never a good tie. And then if they happen to win that, they play the winner out of Bayern Munich and Man City, which isn't great either. Lastly, we had Arsenal versus Palace. I predicted the margin, but not the overall. But we got one score correct out of the, 7 games or so there. 5 points, I think, is actually not that bad. We got just under half, but we got 1 score correct. So, not the end of the world. Last week, we did really well. We got 14 points, but there was also more fixtures than 27 as well. But that was definitely above average. Clean sheet, Aston Villa did well there. And then Southampton, I don't believe Bazunu randomly saved a penalty or anything crazy. He did not. So that was not the greatest pick. But again, it was a differential pick for a reason. Mings kept a clean sheet, so he was fantastic. I also think he had an assist as well. So definitely really well. Brentford, Jensen was the one who scored the goal. Shot did not. Unfortunately. For Bournemouth, they didn't score either, so Solanke wasn't great either. So again, that's why they're called differential picks. So only 2 out of 5 on differential picks. And we'll write that one down in the notebook, as we do. So here we got Gameweek 28. 5 points. 2 out of 5. Diff. And we look at those at the end of the season to see how well we did in correlation to our team as well. But overall, the game week was a bit hectic. Less games just for the international break as well. Palace couldn't defend. Chelsea's woes continued in the Premier League. Aston Villa strong showing. And Newcastle pulling out a result when they desperately needed it. And Spurs continuing to struggle. Moving into the predictions for this week, it's going to be a long one, so keep your seatbelts fastened for this one. So, we got them all lined up here. Again, like I said, fantasyfootballcommunity.com is where we do the predictions, so make sure to check that out. If I'm saying the link wrong as well, make sure to check out the description for any of the YouTube videos. This VOD will go up later this evening as well for those to watch. And it'll be in the description there. So make sure to check that out. I also retweet it and like it every week as well. So the big one off the bat, a couple seasons ago, these two would be fighting it out at the top. Now Liverpool are currently struggling to get into the top 6. And have only recently done so. So this one could be a very important one for the title race. Now, Man City are at home, but they seemingly are going to be without Erling Haaland. Will it be April Fools that they're without Erling Haaland? Or will it be one big joke and he's playing, or they just smash Liverpool without him anyway? We shall wait and see. But I think City will win 3-1. I just think Liverpool are a team that will potentially go toe-to-toe with them. And that could be their undoing because Trent's not very good at defending, for those that don't know. And recently there's been this weird Twitter thing where everyone's saying that Robertson and Trent are better than Dennis Irwin. You don't know what you're talking about. Trent can't defend. And as a defender, that's kind of a requirement. It doesn't matter if he has a better delivery than Dennis Irwin, who had a brilliant delivery himself, was both footed, by the way, took set pieces, and could also defend, and was arguably the best fullback United has ever had, ever. So, let's get that one straight. Yeah. Man City are going to beat Liverpool 3-1 because Liverpool probably can't defend, and City are at home, so you kind of back them. Arsenal, same thing, at home versus Leeds, depleted Leeds as well. A couple injuries, most notably Nonto will be out. Adams in central midfield is still out, I believe, as well. I just don't see anything but an Arsenal win. They might concede probably more of a 3-1 type thing. Leeds might just get a goal because Arsenal haven't really been keeping clean sheets at home recently since basically post-World Cup, really. But I think Arsenal will do quite comfortably here and get the 3-0 win. Mono says, Dennis Irwin was a breath of fresh air. He was. I personally never got to see him. Personally, I was too young. To be watching him like I was watching Rooney and Ronaldo and Tevez and Berbatov and players like that. Or even Van Nistelrooy. But, yeah, Dennis Irwin was elite. So, am I on a bench boost this week? I am. We'll get to that in just a bit once we finish these predictions. Bournemouth Fulham 1-1. I think Fulham being depleted helps Bournemouth, and I think they'll end up getting a draw in this one. Brighton Brentford should be quite tight, but I've given it to Brighton. Could be a battle in the midfield here. Brighton wants you to kind of go in on them, and then they basically pass through you. So that could be a situation that favors Brighton. Crystal Palace Leicester. I just think that every time Leicester play, it could just be a shootout. Roy Hodgson might change that now that he is now in place. I did these predictions before we knew basically what manager was going to be going into place for Crystal Palace. So yeah, but Zaha does well under Roy Hodgson, and they typically play decent at home. So we'll have to see. Forest Wolves going with a 1-1 as well. Forest just score at home pretty much, and Wolves don't score very much. So that's why I've kind of gone with the 1-1. Chelsea Villa. I think Chelsea will get their act together. I think they should win pretty comfortably. They've been looking better, solid defensively, and Villa scoring 3 goals versus Bournemouth isn't really much to kind of look at. I think Chelsea will win 2-0. Moving on to the latter section of the fixtures, we got West Ham versus Southampton. I think that's pretty much what the guys on Black Box would say is the Garden Centre game. That is the one where basically you'd rather go out to the Garden Centre than watch this one. Although I'm thinking about potentially getting Danny Ings this week, so that is another thing to kind of consider. Maybe a reason to watch the game. But yeah, 1-1. Don't think it's going to be very high scoring. Could be proven wrong though. We'll have to wait and see. West Ham definitely have the players to score a lot of goals. They have the likes of Bowen, Ben Rama, Danny Ings, Antonio when he's playing. They can score some goals. It's just they are managed by David Moyes, which is unfortunate. Newcastle, Man United. I think it's going to be very close, but I'm giving the edge to Man United. It would be a very, like Mono says, it'd be some win for Man United. I don't know. I think, heart of hearts, I'd take it. If you told me a draw right now, I'd take it. 100%. 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. Don't care what the scenario is. I'll take it right now for you. But I think that Newcastle are just starting to weaken a little bit. Just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Botman made kind of his first major error versus Forest. We have to remember that. Also, he's coming off of some type of food poisoning, but should be fine for the game. But again, you never know. United don't have Casemiro, so it's going to be more of a defensive performance, I think, from United. But again, Newcastle can be gotten on the break. It's just when Newcastle can sit there and defend and they break on you, it could just end up being two teams that don't want the ball, and then it just kind of ends up being a 0-0. So we'll have to wait and see. But I've given the edge just barely to United. I think it's going to be very close. I could see it going either way, to be honest with you. Mono says, it's hard to know after the international break, but a draw, I suppose, keeps them away from us in the league, which is a good result. Yeah, United coming away with a draw against a team that is fighting for top 4 is a good result. Like away to Arsenal, away to City, away to Chelsea, away to Liverpool, all these sorts of games. If you can get a draw away from home, you take that every day of the week. Of course you would like to win, but you just need to not lose. Effectively, you just need to not lose. And I think this, along with Brentford is at home, so it's a little bit easier. But we play Brighton as well. We still have Chelsea, and we still have Spurs. And I think those are. I mean, Spurs is usually quite easy for United, but Chelsea could be a bit difficult. Although I think we play Chelsea at home as well, which is good. Brighton, I'm not sure if that's at home. I don't think it is, which would be a problem. Take a 0-0, but not with Rashford captain. Yeah, exactly. I don't think United are scoring that many goals this week, to be honest. Brentford and Newcastle are quite stubborn in that regard. Everton and Spurs is up next, and I've gone with a 2-1 in favor of Spurs. I think the no manager bounce, as it were, kind of gets them together. Also, this kind of looming factor that Everton could have a points deduction. I'm confused as to why. Everton are getting a points deduction. Yes, they, financial fair play, whatever. But Man City, hello, over 100 charges, financial fair play, hello, no points deduction, what's happening, hello. Rather, next season, that'd be great. Next season would be fine. So that if they beat Arsenal, I don't want Arsenal to win the league. But, yeah, it's just, so what if City win the league this season? I mean, all their stuff's tainted anyway, it seemingly. Cool, whatever. Fine. Mono says Brighton away. Yeah, so yeah, that one's a tough one. That one is going to be tough. So, yeah, I think Spurs will just barely creep this one through. Speaking of Brighton, 3-0 over Bournemouth. I think they get the job done pretty handily versus Bournemouth. Leeds Forest, I predict a 1-1 depleted Leeds side. Forest might get something there. It's a relegation battle type game. Could be edgy. Could just end up being a 1-1 draw. Leicester Villa. Again, every time Leicester play, I feel like a 2-2 scoreline seems to be legit. Hopefully Madison, some involvement in there. But I think a 2-2 will be quite a fiery game. Chelsea Liverpool. This one always delivers fireworks. Liverpool seem to kind of nullify Chelsea a little bit. But I think Chelsea a little bit better this time. They seem to know what's, like, they kind of nullify Salah a little bit. And I think that these are the sorts of games that Liverpool, they can win, but I don't think that they will. They need to win the other games. Their home games, and they need to prove their away form versus teams that they're not expected to beat. But yeah, this would be a crucial game. I've gone 2-1. It could be 2-1 either way. I don't find it close to call on that one. Man United apparently is 2-1 over nobody. Let me change that. They play Brentford, and my keyboard bugged out, which is weird. Just put a bunch of E's there. Yeah, that's pretty weird. Anyway, yeah. Man United 2-1 over Brentford. I think that one's going to be a close game. I still think Brentford score. They always find a way on a set piece or something like that. And if United came out of this with 6 points, I'd be astounded. But I think the more likely is that they beat Brentford at home and then draw to Newcastle. So, Monaco, they beat us opening game of the season at Old Trafford. Oh yeah, Brighton. Yeah. I couldn't remember if we were away or not. Couldn't remember. I remember they beat us. I think it was 2-1. I believe it was. And then West Ham, Newcastle. I think Newcastle just keep clean sheet. 1-0. Pretty straightforward. Moving on to the clean sheet and differential picks. We're going to move over to transfer screen for this one. Because a differential goalkeeper this week would require probably a double game weeker, I think. De Gea is 11% owned. Kepa's going to be up there as well. 9.8%. Raya, another one, 16.3%. Allison's 15%, which is crazy high as well. Nick Pope, 20% as well. Who would be a real differential out there goalkeeper? Maybe like a Everson or something like that. He's 3.2% owned. Let's go for Everson. as our super differential goalkeeper. Obviously, a lot of managers are going to be on a bench boost, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, Neto. Actually, yeah, let's go with him. He's better. That's definitely better. He actually has a chance of keeping a clean sheet. 0.5%. I forgot about him. For some reason, I was thinking of Jose Sa when you said Neto. Yeah, let's go with Neto. I like that because his fixtures are better and they do actually have a legitimate chance versus Fulham of keeping a clean sheet. Like, they actually do have a chance. Obviously, both teams coming up from the championship last season. Those sorts of things can't happen. Clean sheet will go for... who would be somebody who would keep a clean sheet that has a double this week? Basically, anyone who plays Bournemouth, really. We'll just go Brighton. Sounds boring, but it is what it is. Differential defender this week. I think Dunk is fairly highly owned now. Oh, he's under 5%. Everyone's going for a Stupinian, that's why. But yeah, if you're going to pick a Brighton defender this week, Dunk is extremely effective at 4.7 million. You know he's going to play. He's going to be obviously less involved than a Stupinian would be. Stupinian having a long flight back for him. I think they played Australia like twice for his Ecuadorian. So I took a penalty as well, by the way, which was interesting. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff there. Midfield, who would be a differential midfielder? Salah's going to still be up there ownership-wise, 26.9%. McAllister's probably into the 8% realm. Solly March is probably another one that's probably picked up some steam, 10.6%. I know Matoma is quite high. We have him already, 24.8%. So we're going to have to go with something a bit different. Madison's going to be above 11%. I've heard a lot of people talking about Harvey Barnes as well. He could be an option. I'm not sure if he's over 5%. He's not. He might be our pick here. Just trying to think of any others. Maybe a United mid. Fernandez will be over 5% for sure. And Mbomo's a forward. We could pick him for the forward slot, but Mbomo's a forward in the game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's a forward. Also, I think he might be over 5% anyway. 4.4, close. But he is a forward. And I got somebody else in mind for the forward spot. Who can we go for? Midfielders. Chelsea play twice. Maybe that's something to go for. Let's just go with Harvey Barnes. Interesting one. Scored in the last game they played versus Brentford. So, again, could be interesting. 6.7 million. I mean, he usually disappoints, but could be a bit of a shout. Differential to Madison, too. And then forwards. Somebody that I'm considering. Not Nathan Ferguson, who hasn't played since he's basically signed for Palace. But Evan Ferguson did really well over the international break. 1.8%. Looks like an absolute beast. Looks like an absolute beast. And we could be getting him. He could be our third Brighton player. We'll see. But yeah, that's our clean sheet and differential picks, as well as our predictions as well. And we'll put those over on Twitter once we conclude here. So let's move over to the team as it currently stands. We'll talk about our we'll talk about our transfers in just a second. We'll talk about how the team is currently set up and what I'm thinking about doing. So as you can see, for those that don't know, Mono says, "Come on, Ireland." Yeah, yeah. You know what? Side note: if a team were to sign Evan Ferguson, basically what I would want, if United were going to sign him, you would sign him. You would get rid of Martial because he just seems to be injury prone. And I would say sign Evan Ferguson if you were going to get Kane, because basically, you know, Kane is a 3-4 years at most player, right? Because he goes 30 in the summer. In the games that you want to play, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, weaker teams in the Champions League. These sorts of things is where you can rest Harry Kane and keep him sharp for like the super important games. And Ferguson's also not bad to go 2 up front off of the bench either. There's plenty of games for him to play. And you would have that system where, Kane likes to drop a little bit deeper. Ferguson likes to be more a bit of a kind of a fox in the box type striker. Is also very powerful. Very similar mold to how Kane likes to play as well when he's just scoring goals. But I would say that would be kind of like the duo. If you get Osman and you get Ferguson, I think Osman's probably a bit, he's closer. It'd be a great signing. But yeah, United would love the saga and the hype for the Kane side. Of course they would. They would love it. But I say that's what you would kind of need to do. That's what I think United need to do. United need to basically just say, Martial, you've been a good servant, but you're too injury prone. See ya. Weghorst, Weghorst is just not good enough at this level, unfortunately. You have Rashford as a backup as an alternative through the middle, or Bruno. But if you have Ferguson and Kane, I think you're fine. You have a young striker that you can develop, that's ready for the Premier League right now, as well as you have Harry Kane, who's Premier League proven, breaks the goal record, and then United claimed that he was a United player all along. Great. Then United need an additional center back if they're especially going to get rid of Maguire or whoever, because Maguire is just not good enough. I think Lindelof is fine, but again, is what it is. If Weghorst is like a third choice striker and he's wanting to be that, then cool. And he just wants to be there for kind of like the experience, sure. But I'd rather a third choice striker be someone we can bring in through the academy, basically. You have your premium striker that you play every week. You have Ferguson, who's a super talent. And then you would have academy players after that. You don't need 3, 4, 5 strikers. Unless you're playing 4-4-2 every week. Unless you're Burnley. In which case then you need 4. Cool. Fine. Definitely need a midfielder, for sure. Specifically someone who can play where Casemiro plays. If they can play box to box, or so like Declan Rice is an example of a midfield. I'm not saying he is the answer. Frankie de Jong would be another one. Where they can play a multitude of positions. They can play in the 8, they can play in the 6, they can play in the 10. Give Bruno a night off at times. Especially if you get rid of McTominay, who seems to be taking interest from Newcastle, from what I saw. Potentially a look at right back. Potentially a look at goalkeeper, although I don't think they need to be fixed immediately because De Gea has been playing well. A solid backup would be nice, though. But definitely, I would say 2 center forwards if Martial is going to leave, for sure. A young one and then a proven one, like elite level center back that can basically play in Varane's spot when need be. Because we can see Luke Shaw can cover at left-sided center back too, which is nice. Preferably if he was both-footed, mainly that'd be nice too. Someone with a decent bit of pace at center back. But yeah, that's side tangent. Side tangent there. You think the Glazers will sell by June or at all? I have no clue. I'm just bored of it. I just want it to be done. That's it. I just want them to sell. Just bored of it. Anyway, let's talk Fantasy Premier League. It's a little bit easier to do. So this is the current team. What I was going to talk about first is, for those that are wondering, you see how there's this little white border around your bench? That is the new animation or the new graphic for when you have your bench boost. So, bench boost off, bench boost on. And the way you can see it, if I hit cancel, and I put save my team, and then I go to the transfer screen, it could show that my wild card was played, but that it doesn't say anything else, right? If I go back to my team, and I go play bench boost, save team, and then I go to the transfers, it says active chip, bench boost. That's how you know your bench boost is being played, because it also shows this little white like border. Before it would go like dark. I don't know why they got rid of that, because it's a lot easier to see. But you would also see that this button would say cancel, not play. So there you go. So that's currently active. And this is the team. So bench boost is active, so it doesn't matter where we put our players. But for argument's sake, we're going to put our players which we think are the strongest in the 11 and the weakest which is on the bench, which will be the true bench boost points. Because I could put Rashford and Matoma and Stupinian on the bench, but realistically I would play them. So I'm going to put the weakest 3 players and the weaker goalkeeper on the bench. Stronger goalkeeper I think this week is De Gea. In my opinion, I think he's more likely to keep a clean sheet versus Newcastle and Brentford than Kepa is versus Aston Villa and Liverpool. Even though I have predicted United to concede in both games. But I put De Gea in goal. I've also gone with Trippier, Rico Henry, Estupinian, Rashford currently with the captaincy. That's just was there. Haven't really just thought about that too much as of yet. Saka, Maddison, Martinelli, Matoma, Watkins, and Tony with Kane, Botman, Ben-Mee on the bench. That's how I would legitimately play it. Kane would be on our bench. He would be our weak. I think Watkins scores more in 2 fixtures than Kane does in 1. That's just kind of how I see it. And I think that Martinelli and Saka would score more than Kane in their fixture if I were to keep them. Now, this is where things change. So, let's go through different options. So, we can see 4.9 million in the bank. That is also reflected here on FPL.team. If you don't know about FPL.team, it's a fantastic website that you can basically set up your team, see it for future weeks, and it's great. So let's set up our team here first. So let's go. I'm going to go with, I'm going to put the players in. That we currently have. We're going to have Rashford as the captain, Matoma as the vice captain. Literally exactly how it was. Kane will be first. De Gea. And then we bench boost. Right? So, what are we going to do? Well, the super safe route. So this was the plan that I had originally. My original plan was to get rid of Martinelli, bring in Bruno Fernandes, get rid of Saka, bring in McAllister, captain, whoever. It likes, it says Bruno and Rashford are the same as McAllister as well. And that's how I'd play it. So my bench would be Kepa, Botman, me, and Kane. That's the kind of safe, assured, what I would go with type type strategy. Going forward, what would that look like? Well, game week 30, we would get rid of Tony. We would bring back in Holland, assuming he's fit. We would have 0.2 million extra in the bank. We would take out McAllister. We'd probably play Botman over Stupinian. And it would probably be something like that. Holland would be the captain with Rashford or whoever's the vice captaincy. What was the free transfer in 29? I can go back. So the free transfers would have been both Arsenal players out for McAllister and Fernandes. That would have been the transfers. This is the super safe, I thought of this. The second the international break hit, transfers. This is what I thought initially. Right? Game week 30, Holland comes back in. We bring him, we captain him, whatever. Fine. Game week 31, Canes versus Bournemouth. Looks pretty good. We could get rid of Maddison. And I was thinking about bringing a Man City mid. This could be any Man City mid, really. Trippier and Botman would stay. Henry would stay. Matoma would stay. Fine. We'd captain whoever. Haaland, Kane, somebody. Fine. De Gea would stay in goal. Gameweek 32, free hit. Doesn't matter what the team is. We'll figure it out afterwards. Because we have no Arsenal players, basically play Southampton. Gameweek 33, we'd look to make no transfers. We bring in McAllister into the team, who would play over Phil Foden, probably. Estupinian would play over Rico Henry. We would probably look to make no transfers here if we could. I guess Haaland would be the captain, I guess. Whoever. Gameweek 33 would be 34, would be the double. So Foden or Mahrez or whoever would be in place. Watkins would drop to the bench. Kane would come out. We'd bring in like Darwin or whoever the Liverpool striker is at that moment in time. And then we'd get rid of Ben Mee, who would like Diaz or some Man City defender would probably be what we go for. We want to keep Botman and Trippier because they have a double in 36, which I will set the projected fixtures as well down here. Haaland would be the captain. We'd be light on Liverpool. So we could go like Trent or something like that, even though we just finished bashing him a little while ago. But you know what I mean. We could do something like that. This could also be Luis Diaz as well. Foden and Diaz could be the same. So that is an option. It's just who's going to play from City, really. 35, still in good shape. Probably bench Watkins, play all our other defenders. Kepa would probably play versus Bournemouth over De Gea. Haaland would be the captain again. 36, we would have two frees. Botman comes back in over probably Diaz. Kepa probably stays versus Forest over De Gea versus Wolves. We have our triple Brighton. We could then get, if we wanted to still keep Nunez, because Watkins' fixtures go bad, we can get in Isak and potentially play him over Foden, let's say, and just bench Foden if we think he's going to be benched. Again, he could be a super rotation risk at this point as well. 37, we just basically put in all our doublers again. So either Darwin or Isak, doesn't really matter there. Diaz comes in for Botman. De Gea would play over Kepa because of the Bournemouth fixture. Then we'd have triple United, triple City, and we could potentially look to get maybe we go, I don't know. Foden could be a rotation risk at this point, and we get rid of Foden. We bring in Diaz or something. I don't know. But the thing is, this goes without Salah basically the whole time, as you can see. Do you think Isak's minutes would be limited with Wilson? Yeah, he probably could take off 65, 70 minutes. But at this point, I hope that just like one of their strikers are injured and we could just pick the other one, right? Kind of similar to the whole Aguero versus Jesus kind of conundrum. When one was injured, you kind of just got the other one. So yeah, the only issue with that line is that there's no easy way to get Salah without some sacrifices somewhere. So it basically becomes like Salah versus Kane, and Salah kind of has a little bit more fixtures. So that's kind of the super safe, kind of generic, whatever kind of route. Here's the window again. Again, fresh. We'll put it to what we had it from before. So Ben Mee, Stupinian for Botman. Bench boost. Rashford captain, Matoma Vice. So another option, which is an alteration, would be to get rid of Kane, basically, as well. So if we did Saka to Bruno Fernandes, this is like the next safe one. I mean, the real safe one is just don't do anything, really. Because, yeah, this is the next safe one. So McAllister again, but we get rid of Kane. And we could bring in Isak, we could bring in Ings, we could bring in anyone in that price bracket. I'll just do Isak just for the time being. So we have probably Watkins, probably slightly better fixtures. So that's probably how I'd play it. Captain whoever you want. That'd be for -4. Following week, Tony would then go for Haaland. Isak could come in over McAllister. Makes it nice and easy. Maybe Botman comes in for Stupinian. Whatever it may be. De Gea in for Kepa. Doesn't really matter too much. But what it does allow for in Gameweek 31 is us to be able to get rid of Maddison and go to Salah for one single transfer in Gameweek 31, which is really nice, actually. I have a question. I'm on a -4, and I wanted to know, should I get rid of a Brentford defender for Stupinian for another -4 or Pinnock? No. I would not do that. I would not do that. If the -4 is going to happen, I always like -4s for attackers, if you're going to do it. Unless it's to facilitate. The -4 could also be if you're swapping out a defender. Let's say you were downgrading like a Ben Mead to a Pinnock, and that was for the -4, but that extra bit of money allows you to get Kane as an example, or a Salah, or a De Bruyne, or a Haaland, whatever it is, then sure. But hits for defenders I typically don't like. Unless, like I said, it's to facilitate other things. Then in 32, free hit. 33, we play McAllister, who would play probably over Isak. Everton away. Stupinian would play over Henry. And then we'd put in our doublers. Isak would play over Watkins. We could get rid of Ben Mee. And we could bring in somebody. Basically, we could bring in anyone we wanted to. This is where we could potentially get a little bit creative with some things if we really wanted to. We could downgrade Kepa because we just won't need him anymore. To, let's say, like an Everson. And this is where we can upgrade potentially Watkins to a Darwin, who would be exact funds here, who would come in for Isak. We can get rid of one of the Brentford defenders again. And get a cheaper Liverpool defender. There's things that we can do. For Game Week 30, it would allow me to keep Kane and get rid of Tony for Haaland, and Maddison down to McAllister instead. Would that be for another -4? So you'd be taking 2 -4s. So again, you have to think, it's a -8, really. That's what you kind of have to think about. And remember, you don't really need McAllister for 30 and 31. You don't need him for 32 either because he doesn't play. You need him for probably 33, 34. If that's the way you were going to go. And I think probably the easier way to get the... It's the only way to get Haaland back. There might be another way that you can do it. I would think. That's why, like, I use this, I use the site to basically kind of work it out to make sure I had enough money. Can't do 20 in one move. Yeah, I think I just don't like the hit for a defender. If you're going to get a defender, don't get a Stupinian, get Dunk. I think, personally. Safer, less of a minute's risk. You know, didn't go on international duty, so that helps. So yeah. And then the super risky one. The above as an alternate. Oh, instead of doing the -4, you would do the Gameweek 30 thing. Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then that's not bad. Who are your two Brighton going into this week? Do you have like two Brighton midfielders, like, or do you have like Steele and like Mitoma or something? That's what I would question. Let me just set this one up here. Boom, boom, bam, 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 bam. Oh, you have Mitoma in March already. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I don't think 3 Brighton midfielders is worth it. I don't think 3 is worth it. Who are your goalkeepers? Who are your goalkeepers, and are you bench boosting this week? That's another question I would ask. Oh, you tagged me the team on Twitter. Okay, let me check. Let me check. Tweeter. So let's see. Oh, you have Pope and Raya. I mean, you could save a lot of money by going Pope to Steele. Because then afterwards, you don't need Steele at all. I mean, if Steele plays and keeps playing, then cool, and you can worry about it later. I would say saving the money on Pope might be the idea, and if Steele keeps playing, then it benefits you, but, you know. Bruno or Madison for captain? Or to get rid of? Oh, Yusuf's asking that. Yusuf said, Bruno or Madison? I think it's going to be the common pick to get Bruno this week, but I like Madison as a differential pick. If you're chasing rank, Madison. If you're not chasing rank, Bruno. I also saw something very interesting just now. Oh, it's April Fool's Day. That's why. It'd be pretty interesting, though. FPL Focal's pretty good with the graphics. And he said basically they're making a DM role in FPL, and it's going to be double captain, not triple captain. But it is also April Fool's as well in the UK currently. So, yeah. Do I like Madison long term? I do. I think the only problem is that the Man City fixture. Yeah, dude. I mean, people are saying that Haaland's not available. I mean, who knows? It's Pep at the end of the day. He'll be like, yeah, Haaland's not available. Or he gets sources, Haaland's not available, and he's just telling Haaland to hide. Then Haaland pops up, hey, it's me, I'm playing Liverpool. Could happen. Anyway, we got a little sidetracked here. So, yeah, this is the plan that I might end up going with, because I think it's kind of spicy, and I like it a lot, actually. And I was messing around with it today. So, Saka would come out for Salah. Martinelli would come out for Fernandes. Kane would come out for our third Brighton, and differential pick, Evan Ferguson. And this would actually be our bench boost. Because you probably play Watkins over Ferguson. Unless I knew Ferguson plays twice, then I might play him over then. Which would, in Game Week 30, allow us to do Tony to Haaland exactly. And I think if anything, if Haaland doesn't play, he goes down in price. If I see him play, they have no midweek game, so I'll just buy him anyway. It looks very spicy. It looks very spicy. But it also allows us to bench Ferguson, knowing that he's a 4.6 million. And fine, whatever. But it does make it so that later on we might have to get rid of him if we want like a March or a McAllister. So Game Week 30, we would do the transfer, bring in Haaland, right? Game Week 31, we would actually, what we would do is downgrade Kepa to just a goalkeeper that just doesn't play, like, or is super cheap, like Everson, as our choice, to free up a little bit of extra money, because we can do that. And then we would just kind of just play Madison, maybe play Ben Mee over Stupinian, whatever, right? Then Game Week 32, free hit, cool. Bring in Arsenal players, fine, fantastic, lovely. Game Week 33, we could play Ferguson if he's going to play. We would play Ferguson over... Would we play Ferguson over Madison? We probably wouldn't actually play him. We would play a Stupinian, though, over Ben Mee, and we would play Botman over Rico Henry, and we would play De Gea. I think this would be the only week where, like, where Kepa would have been good, or at least useful. Game Week 34, double game weeks. This is where we could potentially basically maneuver some stuff around. So City have a double, but again, is it really that useful? This is where we could potentially get rid of Madison if we wanted McAllister. This is where we could do it. And then it would be get rid of Ferguson and bring in whatever striker that may be. Could be Danny Ings, could be whoever. If Ferguson's still banging, then we don't have to worry about it. But it could be literally, it could just be Isak, to be honest. It could literally just be Isak if we wanted to. And just put him in. Because Southampton at home looks pretty tasty. Yeah, we only have Haaland as our doubler for Man City, but who knows who's going to play for City. And if we really, really wanted to, we could get rid of Ben Mee for a City defender of some kind. We could. For a hit. Let's say we do that. Let's even go like Diaz or something like that. Chuck him in there. Why not? Game Week 35. Isak plays Arsenal. We'd have triple Brighton in there. Let's add the fixtures too. Team could probably just play itself, to be honest. Maybe we play Watkins and kind of Even some things out there. Do no transfers. Cool, fine. Whoever the captain is, doesn't really matter. Then we'd have triple of our teams that double in there. We could also preemptively downgrade Watkins to somebody. We could change Watkins to Havertz or whoever. We can change him to... I mean, who knows? We can change him literally to whoever. We can change De Gea to... change him to Ederson. Like, who knows? We can just do that if we wanted to. Then we have Triple City, and we're fine. Gameweek 37. Diaz would come in for Botman. You know, Chelsea don't have the greatest double, to be honest, but they do have a double. We would have Triple City. We'd have double United, but we could get rid of... Watkins and bring in... I don't know. Whoever, let's say. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't have to be a doubler, to be perfectly honest. We could get rid of... we can get rid of Trippier at this point if we really wanted to bring in Luke Shaw. Get rid of Watkins. Bring in Havertz. Play Havertz over Isak. Bang, bang. And then Gameweek 38, just whatever, right? Team looks all right. So, I like that. Well, I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. It is extra spicy. It also allows for us, if we really wanted to get rid of Ferguson by the time Gameweek 34 rolls around, it allows us to do that. So, because I think for this week, Ferguson might be pretty good because of the fact that he did really well on international duty. So, we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'll post my team for the deadline for sure, so that y'all can check it out. But this team currently as it stands, bent on the bench boost. Time for a boost. David De Gea, Trippier, Rico Henry, Estupinian, Rashford with the captaincy. Didn't really talk much about the captaincy, but I think it's probably going to be one of a Brighton player or a Man United player, I think, is what it's going to be. Whether it's Matoma or McAllister or Bruno or Rashford, it's going to be one of those, is what I'm thinking. If I'm really going to go rogue, I'll go Maddison. But I think it's going to be probably a United player I would favor currently. So Rashford, Saka, Martinelli, Maddison, Matoma, Watkins, Tony, and our bench boost currently as it stands is Kepa, Kane, Botman, and Ben Mee. And the transfers are likely going to be the single game week players out. And off they go. For Bruno, McAllister, Salah, somebody like that. Ferguson, whoever. You think Estupinian plays both games? I think there's a chance he doesn't play one of them, I think. But they don't really have someone in that position that can play that role that well. He didn't play well his last game, but did play well over the international break. De Zerbi said fatigue's not an issue, but we'll wait and see. Dunk is definitely the more secure pick, I would say, for sure. Yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Let's move over to the big screen. So, thank you all for watching the Gameweek 29 deadline-ish stream. Make sure to like, follow, favorite, comment, subscribe, all the normal stuff that you do. PilotFlame226 on all platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can check us out on all of those. I'll be posting the VOD over on YouTube shortly after the stream. We do these live streams over on Twitch on Friday or Thursday evenings before Gameweek. So make sure to come check us out for that. I'll post my team. It's probably already been out, most likely, potentially by the time you see this. But I'll definitely have it out before the deadline and give you enough time to take a look at it if you want. So yeah, thank you all for watching. And until the next one, Take care.